Hello, this is Daryl,
And this is John.
and this is the Town of Orphan Characters, a weekly podcast where we roll up characters to live in our town. Today, let's see what we make. What are we going to make? We're going to make something enjoyable. That is for sure.
That's the goal.
You know?
Always.
Every day. Always. So, last session, we made a wonderful character, which is a little off beaten path. It's a Jahzzar called Zarerak, and he was a druid. Sorry, they were a druid.
Right.
Because if I remember correctly, this one was, intersexed.
Yeah.
So
I feel like this character was really interesting and a lot of fun to see develop, especially when we started to see how all that stuff sort of fell in line. Like being intersex and then also being a race that sort of is ambiguous about gender in the first place. And then also having the agendered expression or presentation really kind of you couldn't ask for it to roll out better, I think. From the way that it started.
And the fact that it was like we were like, oh, it's going to be a wizard, they're intelligent, and no, they're a druid.
That's a very, very smart druid.
Yeah, like they plan out like, so we're Sophia, and we think that Zarak is probably hanging out with Sophia, or around her cottage and things like that. Where I think he comes or they come into play. Either pronoun, I guess they would choose or you would choose. Comes into play is like Zarak is like, stop mixing this plant with this plant. We gotta get this color here, and it's like really science and like study focused on it. Think like your biologist or your botanist friend or somebody who you know who's like super into gardening, and it's like, you can't put this plant next to this plant because this plant's going to kill this plant with this. And so that's where they come into play with their knowledge. Like they're super intelligent about the different plant species and the different animal species, and is curious and is more motivated with seeking balance, but does it more analytically. So
right.
I think it's a very fun character to have, and it'll be a very fun character to play because you have so many role play options with this character.
Right, lots of comedic value if you play it right, I believe.
Yeah, and I think they will interact very strangely. Like currently in our town, we have some very strange people. This is the misfits of.
It's a real hodgepodge so far, and I love it.
Yeah, like you could easily, if you needed to do a one shot, adopt other characters, bring them out for one shot, give them to your players, and just like let them go out of town and see how that plays out. Because I think that'd be a lot of fun right there. They are playing nicely. They interact well. The Gith is probably not too concerned about people taking advantage of the rules or anything like that. So it's nice that way. And I can see it putting into town. It's going to be good. Now for today, I'm really curious what we're going to get. I'll tell you my mood, because our mood influences kind of what we want to see happen, right? Like, what kind of character are we in the mood for? What are we feeling like? And I have a feeling that we have some like rule makers and like scroungers. We don't have a leader character.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling that. So today's interpretations from my point of view probably is going to be very skewed that way. I'm going to be looking to see how they might be a leader or whatnot.
Interesting. I think I'm more of a clean slate, but I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit more melancholy today, so I might just be more in line with something that is a little bit more serious, and maybe that will feed into it. I don't know.
And I think this is important for us to talk about too. Well, not in every episode, but at least once or twice to talk and discuss about how, yes, we roll in randomly for a lot of the things, but a lot of the interpretation is from us. And it's the same thing with you. Whenever you're rolling up a character, your mood, where you're sitting at, what's going on in your life, is going to influence what you kind of see in it. So we'll probably see some of this come into play in this episode. You've probably seen it in a couple of other episodes.
Yeah,
Don't
totally.
forget your bias. Don't forget where you're at.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it just depends on what you want out of the play session or what you want out of the character. I mean, sometimes it's fine to return to your set path or your pattern of play style or whatever is your comfort zone. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. No. It's fun to step out of your comfort zone. It's also fun to wrap yourself in a blanket of familiar characters and stuff. So
get your safety blanket, and if your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, they ain't no friend of mine.
This is the safety blanket episode. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Well, I think it's just important to highlight that yes, we are going to try to be as random and off the wall as we can be, but sometimes we just kind of have a thing in our head.
Yeah.
And it's important to quick background session. I'm a psychology major, counseling master. It's important to recognize when you have these thoughts and background influences when you're doing something like this.
Yeah.
Or in any time interaction like this. So as normal, we have our 30 different races, including the Magic the Gathering races. We do not have the total package. Feel free to donate for us to get the total, but I don't think I have the total package. Yeah. So if we had it, it would be 31. We don't. It's 30. We will start by rolling up our race and seeing where we begin today. John, I will let you roll both dice today.
Okay, sweet. A 9. It's 2 and a 7.
Am I counting this right? Oh. Okay, roll me a d4.
Oh, that's all right. Now I'm feeling nervous. I rolled a 2.
An Earth Genocide.
But, okay, this is one of the ones I'm not familiar with.
So, I'm very familiar with this because I just finished a campaign with an air genocide. Genocide carry the power of the elemental planes in their blood. They are children of genies, or Dao in this case, are descendants of somebody who had Jinn blood in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they exhibit attributes from that plane of existence. And in this case, an Earth Genocide are descended from the cruel and greedy Dao. Though you aren't necessarily evil, you have inherited some measure of control over the Earth, revel in superior strength and solid power. You tend to avoid rash decisions, pausing long enough to consider your options before taking them. Elemental Earth manifests differently from one individual to the next. Some always have bits of dust falling from their bodies or mud clinging to their clothes, never getting clean no matter how often they bathe. Others are shiny and polished like gemstones. So you really can exude a lot of the elemental aspects of your blood that comes from this. You're a humanoid. You're typically human. Somewhat, depending on your, again, you can have a base race for this, but most often they are human based.
Yeah.
Because for some reason in D&D world, human is just able to mix with everything. We have a little bit of everybody's blood in us. Or the ability to adapt to all the other bloods and coexist that way, I guess. That's an interesting metaphysical thing that we should do on a special episode or something like that. Just talk about the metaphysical aspects of the human race in D&D.
That would be very interesting. So I would call BS if we happen to roll a water soul genocide. But because we have an Earth genocide, so far this character is just way out of left field for the because we were we even moved the town's location to the beach or the ocean sort of shore coastal area because we have so many sort of coastal character. So it's refreshing to see a character who does not carry that theme.
Yeah.
And is very much like the opposite of that, or not that.
And then one of the main features that almost all Earth genocide have is fissures across their skin from which faint light shines at times. So like
That's neat.
That's a very interesting thing to talk about, as a character could express themselves through that. Like when they get very angry, the light shines a little bit brighter, or a slightly different color, but not by a huge hue. And then like, different sections of the body could light up depending on, instead of blushing, this character could like have fissures on their face glow
right
as the blood rushes there. That'd be very interesting. A nice thing to do with your character interactions and play style. Like my air genocide, when he was a monk, away the shadow monk, and the way that you would tell when he was on the verge of, like, he never killed anybody in the entire campaign. He never killed a single person. He would always knock them out if he had the option. But there was one or two times when he got really injured and failed a willpower save, a wisdom save to check himself, and his hair just went like Miyazaki hair, like whoosh up. And at that time, he drew a bladed dagger because like this Kinku stabbed him with a dagger and it was stuck in him, and he took the dagger out and was like going to kill this Kinku.
Nice.
And think about that if you play this character. And as we go on, we need to think about it. How does it exhibit these emotions? How does it exhibit?
Okay.
How does they do that? He also has Earthwalk. They can move across difficult terrain made of earth or stone without any issue. No spending extra movement. And they can pass without a trace. They can cast pass without a trace spell once with their Merger Stone ability. So like,
those are both super useful abilities.
Yeah, once per day they can just like pass without trace, and their Constitution is their spellcasting ability score for this. So that's interesting. It's a Constitution and Strength based character, so that is quite interesting. Okay. Now, before we get much farther into this, let's figure out some descriptors about this character. Firstly, we are going to go ahead and roll up the gender. We roll a d6 to see what the character was born as, and then a d10 to see how they present themselves in their adolescent or adult lives. So, John, would you like to roll? Which one would you like to roll today? What are you feeling?
I'll roll the d6.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay.
All right. That's a 2.
2, born as male. And I rolled a 10, which is agender. Okay. So whereas our previous character last week was androgynous and kind of was fluid in between both and could pass on either way, this character doesn't really ascribe to a gender. They don't conform. They don't see themselves or present and follow the roles for any of this stuff. They don't see that kind of thing. I think, to me, and my viewpoint of this, and I'm still learning about these things, but with this agender, they just don't describe themselves. They dress in common clothes, but they don't really prescribe to any of the social norms that for the roles and stuff. So I think that would be a very interesting thing to take into consideration when playing this character.
Absolutely. I think the new system that we came up with and started using the last episode is kind of designed to have room for interpretation.
Yes.
So, like, I think it's up to whoever plays the character to decide what that means and how far that goes, or how they want to express that in their play style. I think I would go along with what you're saying, and he's a male, but maybe doesn't always use pronouns, or it's just that he does use he him pronouns, but chooses to dress in a way that is very gender neutral.
Yeah, I'm feeling until we figure out what class it is, I'm feeling like
Yeah.
very Tunic style, down
Right.
to earth, practical. This character right now is screaming practical to me,
Yeah.
and I don't see the character being as ascribing like he, she. This character doesn't care what pronoun you use for them, as long as you're treating them with like this respect. They don't
Yeah.
ascribe it, and if they notice something that's not equal or playfield, then they kind of skew and get
Right.
upset about that more
Right.
than anything else. Moving along, so let me see here.
I'm also thinking of, like, what comes to mind is the character Ashiok from Magic, who
Ooh, yeah.
it doesn't have an assigned gender, and their sort of style of dress is a mixture of like masculine and feminine type clothing.
Yeah.
So we could also go that route.
I think that's fine to do with that too.
Mm-hmm.
It fits very well, and however you take this character, I don't think you're gonna have. There's no wrong way for you to interpret
Yeah.
and to play this
Yeah.
character. But for the purpose of the purpose,
For the purpose.
for the purpose of this podcast, just testing out the mic now, is for our interpretations and how we are going to view it. I think we have a good point of view for it at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So genocide mature at the same rate as humans and reach adulthood in their late teens, but they live somewhat longer than humans, up to 120 years.
Okay.
So I think our D4, D6 method is still a viable method for this. So I would like you to roll that, and then I'm going to roll a D12 and add that to like a 10 to find out the base, because we don't have a starting age for adulthood.
Okay.
So you'll roll the D6 and D4,
Okay.
and I'll come up with the base age.
Um, 3 and 4.
Okay, so I rolled a 10, so that'll be base 20, and then 12 on top of that, 32.
Okay.
Is it me, or did we just like make like a small little commune of like 30 somethings trying to like have their first homes?
Millennial adventurers, it's fine. Yeah, I like it. It's they've already been to college. They have seen some shit. They've done some weird shit, and now they're trying to get their shit together and start a little town.
It's Community,
Yeah,
but with D&D characters.
Oh, that'd be a good show, actually.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun. So, moving along, we need to figure out what our alignment is going to be.
Yeah.
And we do this by rolling a D10 and hoping that the numbers don't come out evil. Because it's a little, sometimes it's harder to explain evil.
Yeah, now this still has the potential to be our leader type character.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm going to say alignment may not affect that, right? It just depends. If this character is the leader, their alignment really just sort of affects their style of leadership.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to roll that D10. 4.
Neutral, lawful neutral.
Okay. So when we say lawful neutral, as far as leadership style, right? This character is very they follow the law, but they're neutral in their application of that. And this actually is a very good leader, in my opinion, for like a town, because they're going to make sure that they're not going to be biased in their decision making in terms of who gets the better part of the deal, or who gets to benefit the most from decisions.
Yeah. That being said, though, they will have a tendency to follow the letter of the law.
Yeah.
And as we have seen, Celia likes to bend that a little.
Yeah, she does.
So this character, while maybe they are they do a fair application of applying the law and acting in accordance to the law and trying to influence people in this general way. They're not like Misty, who is trying to find the best way to apply the law to everybody so that each person gets equality
Yeah.
as far as what they need in accordance to the law. This is more of the character who writes the laws in a neutral manner, but doesn't necessarily care if Celia makes a little bit extra stuff through the law or she bends
Yeah.
it a little bit. As
It's
long as she's
the perfect type of leader for Celia to come in and be like, I can work with this guy. Or I can kind of skirt under this dude's radar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she's still following the law. And he's like, well, she does have an affidavit. She does have a permit.
Yeah. She does have a receipt for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, this gives us one of each alignment style of lawful in the town. So now we have a balance of power going on. And as this town
that's interesting.
goes on, like maybe this character's not the leader type. Maybe this one turns out to be the judge. Like we have the homeowners association Celia, who is kind of like skirting the meaning and the intent of the law. We have Missy, who's trying to improve the laws, and we have this one who's like balancing it all out and going, okay, yes, you didn't technically break the law here, but yeah, you did. And it kind of balances it out that way. So that's going to be an interesting setup right there.
Yeah, I definitely think of some form of adjudicator.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
So that's gonna be very interesting for that. And he's an Earth genocide, so he's very down to earth, very serious. They are like they don't care about these other flares so much as getting things done. Potentially. So
we don't really know yet.
No, that's the exciting part about tonight. So moving right along, we go into our ability scores.
Yep.
And this is a simple 46. Keep the highest 3.
Yeah.
And John, how about this? Today, roll up strength, dexterity, and constitution. You get to do the physical traits.
Okay. Let's see here.
And we will see what we get. I'm going to switch my dice because I have 2 green and 2 black. And if I mix the white one in there, it throws off all of my numbers.
Okay. So strength, we come out with a 10.
A 10?
That's 2 4s, a 2, and a 1.
Wow. Okay.
Not the worst, not the best.
No.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh
we
no.
done messed up.
For Dex, we have a 3, 2, and a 1. So that is a 6. 3, 2, 1, and a 1.
Wow.
So
okay.
6 for Dex. This guy, not very dexterous.
No.
We made a mistake. It was a mistake having me roll all these in a row. All right. Let's give it a good shake. We need a good constitution. It's going to get an extra. Well, fam, it's not much better. A 6 to start with seems good, but then a 3, a 2, and a 2. So we end up with an 11.
Oof. Okay. Now, let's see if we can do something better here. And well, John, I'll have you know that I just rolled 2 6s, a 5, and a 1 for intelligence.
Okay. Oh boy.
6, 5, 3, and 3 for wisdom, so 14. So intelligence was 17, wisdom is 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yahtzee.
Oh,
6,665 on
geez.
charisma.
What have we done? This is a leader. This stat wise, now hear me out. He's not, or they are not a leader of physical presence, right?
No.
But but I'm going to say they are very intelligent and able to use their charisma to sway others, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then we have wisdom in there too, very wise,
Yes.
intelligent, and charismatic leader.
Yeah.
If we end up with a leader, maybe we end up with somebody who's like, I hate leadership, and
We'll
no,
see.
that's my background is totally against the idea of leadership whatsoever.
Yeah, we'll see. But here's an interesting thing here. So we rolled a 6 on the dexterity, and this is a physical part of it. So what I like to do is explain why they have such a low score here. And in this case, I feel like they have a disability.
Hmm.
They have an injury or something that is preventing them from being more dexterous.
Yeah, I like that. I've heard of stuff like that before, like a broken arm or.
Mm-hmm. So in another campaign, my girlfriend Jenga played Blind Owl from Deadpool. She was a
Nice.
ranger who was blind because she had like a dexterity of like, I don't know, 6 or something like that too. Something ridiculous. I don't think that's the case for this character. For this character, I feel like maybe their earth elemental expression comes in the form of like rocks at the joints. So like they have more stone and earthen material around where the joints are in the joints, so it makes
Mm-hmm.
it hard for them to move quickly.
It's
And
possible.
mm-hmm,
I was going the route in my head of just straight up missing an arm.
mm-hmm. I was thinking a leg, actually. I was thinking like a stone
Oh, a
leg,
leg. Yeah. Oh,
like
that's
from the
cool.
knee down.
Like a stone pirate leg, a peg leg.
Like they get bit by a basilisk, and like it just like it's their actual leg. It's just stone now.
Oh, neat. Okay.
So like it doesn't prevent them from like being able to walk or anything like that. It's they walk kind of flat footed, but they don't. It you got to lug it around a little bit, you know.
Yeah. And I think some of this is going to be up to whoever picks up the
Mm-hmm.
character. Like, it could be something as simple as they were born with sort of, I'm imagining like, in Lord of the Rings, Treebeard's legs are kind of
Mm-hmm.
like giant tree trunks.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they have their upper body is more humanoid, and then their lower body, as you get closer to their feet, actually kind of turns into just like the roots of an actual mountain, like a rock. Like, physical
I
features
like that
kind of
idea.
disappear, and so they have like rocky legs. They can't wear shoes or boots, and
That's interesting.
yeah, they were just born with maybe a deformity that
Mm-hmm.
could be not necessarily deformity, but among the Earth genasi, maybe they would say something like, "Oh, you're closer to our
Yeah.
ancestors," or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Or you're closer to the elemental, or like
Right.
you're grounded in the elemental plane that way. I like this idea. I think for the sake of the podcast and for the sake of bringing it out, let's combine the two ideas.
Okay.
Let's say that the this character's legs are where they express more of the elemental powers. So like
Yeah.
as they go down, that's why their knees have a little bit more of like the rocky, not stalactites, rocky outcroppings and
Mm-hmm.
things jutting
Rocky
from them.
bits. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then it goes down
Straggly
to
parts.
the calf, and the calf is becoming more stone, and it's hard to move. The ankle has like large rock bits, so it doesn't even look like it looks like an ankle made from a statue, not
Yeah.
marble, but like a rough hewn stone statue. And the
Mm-hmm.
foot is quite literally like just it looks like a thing of rocks almost,
Right.
and it doesn't have much give or anything like that. So they're very flat footed, and they walk very like marching style.
Yeah.
I think that sounds really cool. I would. It's a challenge to play that kind of character. I think,
Yeah.
uh,
I
which would be a
think
lot of
too.
fun.
I think too. It could be kind of challenging from the the gender perspective, and I know we already kind of talked about this at length, but
Yeah.
like I think that in my mind at least, there's a bias
Hmm.
to treat a character like that as male and use like he him pronouns and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's not what this character really is. I think I'm just pointing out like
Yeah.
a sort of stereotype within fantasy
Hmm.
to have like Treebeard is a dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's what I'm kind of pointing out.
Oh, so kind of the way that the French have genders for all objects and things like that in the language, and
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
some languages they do that, where
Yeah.
it's automatically predisposed as being male,
Yeah.
because as we take off some of the more recognizable parts of being a humanoid, or we add on to these elemental parts
Mm-hmm.
to predescribe it as a male. Yeah.
Right. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Hmm. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting
Yeah.
down.
So I think it just is a mental exercise, but it could lead to a lot of interesting scenarios, gameplay, and
Yes.
role play. Really.
Hmm. And last week we added in a D100 of occupations, mainly built to help field expertise and background a little bit more, because the general D&D backgrounds are nice, but they don't give us what kind of jobs these people might be doing in the village, or what they did before they got to the village, and what they might be bringing with them too. So this is a D100 roll. I would like John to go ahead and let us see what our character was doing or will be doing in the town.
Okay.
Let's see if it fits as
This
well as the Lizard Folk Butcher.
I know, right? All right. I rolled a 7. Well, I rolled the 0-sided and a 7, so that's 7, right?
Yes, that is 7. Astrologer.
Okay. Um, how do
What?
we? Yeah. So, all right. Hear me out. This is a
Yes,
bit
yeah.
of a stretch,
Okay.
but there are two ways that the ancient man
Hmm.
used to record to make calendars. Right?
Yeah.
They watched the stars, but
Hmm.
what did they use to watch the stars? Megalithic stone structures like Stonehenge
Okay.
and the pyramids, and so this character, they are involved in astrology in that
Hmm.
kind of way, right?
Yeah.
So they are always like they're looking at the stars, but they're also looking at the
Hmm.
alignment of monuments, stone monuments, and maybe they actually spend time like arranging stones and piling stones to create calendars, and then like
Okay.
read the stones and how they align with the stars. That's I'm throwing that out there.
Okay. So running with that idea, this character is in the D&D universe. It's in favor.
Mm-hmm.
There are planes of existence, and the different planes are there. Astrology is grounded in, again, calendars
Mm-hmm.
and the cycles of the space and the stars and the different works up in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the same idea that maybe they worked or they studied, again, very intelligent character, very wise character, very charismatic character. They studied the movement of the planes with these monolithic buildings and structures. And the place that
Nice.
they had resided before this, they had been studying and doing research on convergences of the planes, of what different stars align with different planal systems. So, like, maybe this constellation over here is aligned with the plane of Pandemonium,
Uh-huh.
or the one of the lower planes, and this
Yeah.
constellation over here is with a higher plane. And they've been tracking those things with the stone structures and
Yep.
things like that there. Because not everything has to be about the Earth genocide section,
Yeah.
but they could be studying that kind of thing, which would make a very interesting interaction with our Gith, because the Gith was a spacefaring race
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
before coming to Faerun. So they would have some research in the, oh goodness me, the astral plane,
Mm-hmm.
where the stars and stuff are said to reside in this universe. Your universe may vary, your DM may vary with this, so you might have to skew it. But I think this is where we're going to go with this. They were tracking the movement of the planes through the stars and through the astral plane.
Yeah. Dude, this character just got so awesome
Yeah.
because I freaking love watching documentaries about ancient structures, especially things like Stonehenge and the mystery of Stonehenge. Love it. Absolutely love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I could go on about it, but I'm just going to say, like, yes, this is my jam right now.
Okay. So, and this character could, depending on the background that we roll, have also been a like tarot or astrology based, I wouldn't say quack, but a performer of this to earn money.
Yeah.
They're very practical. People take them very seriously, but they also could know that I'm not actually doing a job. Like, I'm not actually telling these people the future. That's not my job. My job is to help them like sort things out for themselves. They just pay me gold to be their therapist, essentially.
Nice. I love
And
it.
so to earn income, they use the information that they know about the stars and what like that to kind of do the prophesizing and like readings and fortune telling to help people solve their problems, and then use all that funds to research actual factual things about going on
On the planes, yeah.
in the heavens. Yeah.
I love that. And I can't help imagining going back to the Earth genocide thing and being like,
Yeah.
they are totally sitting in a marketplace with a giant crate full of geodes. And they crack it open. They're like, you pick a geode, and then you bring it to the genocide, and they crack it open, and then they like read the inside. Like, like reading your
Oh my gosh.
teachings.
Yes. Yeah. and the entire time they're just going like, they crack it open, they look into it, and in their head they're going, you racist mofos, like just because I'm an earth genocide, you think I have studied the stars for 24 hours in a row and you're having me look at stones. It is a very pretty stone though, but
no, I was suggesting that's their scam as far as like,
yeah.
you go to the
But that's what they do. Like they know it's a scam, but in their head they're just like, man, I can't believe this is working. These idiots.
This is working. These idiots. Yeah. Okay, sweet. And then they'll say things like, I'm seeing here, this crystal sort of says to me that there's a father figure that
Yeah.
maybe reaching out, maybe coming into your life soon. And they're like,
Yeah, I'm gonna be a baby daddy.
I'm gonna be a dad. Like,
I have a feeling that it's more along the lines of how tarot reading goes. He cracks it open, shows them the crystals, like helps him envision like the thing, and then talk about the problem and be like, okay, this crystal represents typically these things here. How does that resonate with you? How does this stone, and like, all right, he does healing crystals.
Healing crystals. Oh man, that's so obvious. How did we not even think of healing crystals?
He's the one who goes and sells the esoteric.
They've got the healing crystals.
In a world full of magic already and magic stones, this a-hole goes around to like merchant class people and says like, here, this crystal will help alleviate these problems for you, and people are just like, sounds legit, sure.
Yeah. What is that Gwyneth Paltrow egg thing that I can't remember what it's called, but now I'm thinking of that.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I have to Google it.
Yeah, moving along, we have the occupation. Going straight from occupation into background, there is 17 possible backgrounds. We do not use the D&D not D&D, the Magic the Gathering content for this, mostly because it's typically a stretch to make that fit into most campaigns. So, John, if you would roll a d20, and we'll see what the background is. Because if we get 2, I'm going to be super happy about it. I'm not going to tell you why until after the roll. But
Okay. I rolled a 5.
that's not what I wanted, but okay.
Not a 2. Sorry, buddy.
5. I feel like we should do the same thing we do with the class, because we got folk hero again. Somehow.
A folk hero.
Yes. So that's
Okay.
our third folk hero.
Okay, but again, like there's different ways you can sort of express this one, right?
Uh-huh. So the reason why I wanted 2 was it was charlatan, which would have fit the thing much better. So with folk hero, we get our animal handling and survival, and tool proficiencies, vehicles, land. We also get an artisan tools.
Okay.
That's another 17.
I hope that they're like stone shaping artisan's tools.
There is a mason's tools and a jeweler's tools. So I'm going to roll a d20 and see what we get. 3. Calligrapher's supplies.
Hey, maybe they use the calligrapher's supplies to write down the person's horoscope after they've done everything.
I think that and that they probably use it for the research more so than anything. Like they're writing tomes of information
or drawing diagrams or of the of their. Okay.
So now
works for me.
We get into the suggested characteristics, the personality traits. John will roll a d8 and I will 2, and we'll see what we get for the personality traits.
All right. Here's where it starts to get real sideways or real awesome, just depending on. I rolled a 6.
A 6. Thinking is for other people. I prefer action, which is a little counterintuitive with the genocide.
Super counterintuitive to everything because this character also has really high intelligence.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's more of a street smarts than it is a book smarts now.
Yes, and it could also be that they prefer actionable plans. Like most people sit there and think and philosophize, and they're like, no, practicality. How do we cross the river? Get some logs. We're going to build a bridge. And someone's like, but what if we just no, build the bridge. Let's go.
Or it strikes me as this character would be like, this might affect their way of adjudicating disputes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they're very interested in like, okay, well, whatever your complaint is, I don't care. This is what the law is. And you need to come to me with a plan or an actionable way of solving your dispute. Don't just come to me with your problems.
Yeah. And then I got 1, which is I judge people by their actions, not their words, which fits just as well with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That was a perfect transition. Like you didn't even know. And you went right into it. So yes, I'm going to say he for this one because this feels very masculine and I feel like he'd be okay with this pronoun at this point. He feels that the actions and the task of what people do is much more important than what they say. And he doesn't consider, I have a feeling that the thinking is for other people aspect of it is they don't philosophize. So if they're judging and doing that kind of job, they don't consider the implications of their actions. They don't philosophize like, oh, this is the first model trial of a brand new nation. It's like he's the Aaron Burr at the moment.
Everybody's watching Hamilton now. Yeah.
So again, it fits like that. This is going to come out like a couple weeks after that. So, but he's kind of that way. He's judging from the actions. He's not doing fancy words or trying to misdirect. He's just like, no, I'm going to do this action plan here. And here's my proposal for that. John, would you please roll a d6 for the ideal?
Okay. That wasn't a dice roll. It was me moving a dice.
Mm-hmm.
This is me rolling the dice. I rolled a 5.
Sincerity. There's no good in pretending to be something I'm not, which is the neutral version.
Yeah.
So like there's not much to say on that one. He's again practical. He's not lying about the things. Like he has a good charisma score. He could lie. It really kind of suffers in the fortune telling astrology scam that he was doing before. But I think maybe that would shift it more to the healing crystals or the aura based. Like he's not lying about himself at this point. He's selling stones to make people feel better about themselves and knows that the healing power is mostly in themselves. So
Okay, I like that.
a stone seller who's like, oh yeah, this stone means this, or he ascribes meanings to the stones and just lets people roll with that from there. Now we go to the bond, which is a d6. I work the land. I love the land. I will protect the land.
I think that works for an Earth genocide.
Mm-hmm. I think this works well with the idea that maybe one, he's studying the planes, but also he's going in, probably finding the stones, bringing them out, collecting all the rocks and whatnot like that, and he goes to that. Also, it says the land as if they are a farmer, because again, it's a humble background for the folk hero.
Yeah.
But in this case, it could just be a calling to the elemental earth.
Right.
And he will do more to protect the structures or natural phenomena of elemental earth than he would, like, say, I don't know, the woods, or
right.
You know, if there's a volcano or there's a fire. He's like, no. Would you please roll us his flaw, which is a d6?
Okay. Two.
I was just reading that, and
no.
I was thinking, how is this one going to work? I'm convinced of the significance of my destiny and blind to my shortcomings and the risk of failure.
Okay. Maybe that they believe that there's a prophecy, or that their research about the planes is guiding them towards a higher purpose, or an element, like, something about, maybe they want to reach the elemental plane that they originated from, their people originated from.
Elemental Earth. So the folk hero is basically about somebody who, the stereotypical, oh, he was a farmer kid and he became the knight or the prince and whatnot, became the hero. And they want to stop against tyrants and monsters. So they feel like destiny's calling him to stand up for the common folk everywhere. So maybe he's not so much, he's blinded by the idea that he's in a position now, he's reading the stars, and he is convinced that he's going to bring order, or he is going to bring this knowledge to the common folk and protect them. So that could be where we go with this. I think that works pretty well with this character. Like, he's practical. He thinks that he has all this stuff, but because of the high intelligence and a little bit of arrogance maybe in his knowledge, they don't see, again, the risk of failure. They don't philosophize the after effects, just the outcomes. Only very what's the word I'm looking for? How do you say? Not objective based, or
right. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't think of it either.
It's okay. It's late for you. It's early for me. Brains aren't working. Brain things.
Brains are. I am having brain for the smart making.
Yay!
I honestly was just thinking that maybe they are determined to bring the awesome healing properties of the jade egg
I don't.
Their destiny is to have everyone using a jade.
God, and
I'm
it's not even real
sorry.
jade.
It's
It's not
fake
even real
jade.
jade. It's macrolite or something like that, and only like actual people who care about the stones know the difference.
I actually had to Google it. Your eggs harness the power of energy work, crystal healing, and a Kegel like physical practice. I'm gonna stop right there. This thing is ridiculous.
No. Okay. No. We're going to move to class. And this is really going to dictate the practicality of this character of
Okay.
solidifying these vague concepts we have that have floated around this astrological. As well, if I could speak, it'd be a lot better. Now, wouldn't it? This astrologer who is looking to the planes, who's maybe tricking the common folk to get money, who is, or they could just be using it to try to better the people around them,
Mm-hmm.
who adjudicates and maybe, I really do. I feel like more so than a judge, and he could be a lawmaker. But right now, I feel like more than like the judge or the leader character that we were thinking of before, kind of the charlatan leader, where they
Yeah.
are leading by like this idea of like, if I'm bringing happiness to other people, then I'm doing good work, like,
Right.
and they're acting in that accordance more so than the actual law. But that would depend on the class. So we
Mm.
each roll a d12 and we
Okay.
see the two and we discuss. Ready?
Oh wait. Let's speculate first. What class
Yes.
do we think that this is?
Oh goodness, this is definitely a sorcerer or a wizard,
Yeah.
like
I was going
beyond
to
a
go
doubt in
with
my mind.
sorcerer. Well, sorcerer would be like dragon stuff, which would just make it weird and
No,
complicated.
no, sorcerer has a lot of different other backgrounds, which could
Oh, okay.
completely, like, not only elemental earth.
Well, then since we haven't rolled a sorcerer yet, I hope that we do roll a sorcerer, so we get to
Yes.
just. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's my bias. I'm declaring it. I hope we get a sorcerer.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
What'd you get?
Oh, I got a 2. Bard.
I got a 7.
Paladin.
No, these are.
No, these are great. Both of these are charisma based classes. Both of these, well, the Bard is spellcast focused, but can also be melee focused. Paladin's a little bit more melee focused than spellcast. So it's a little bit sketchier, but he's also an earth genocide, so that would be fine also. He could be, he's lawful already, he's lawful neutral. This could be the adjudicator who's like, no, based on the planes and the stars and your argument, you didn't follow the law correctly, and then passes the punishment that way.
Okay, and now I'm getting interested. Let's talk about what before we actually decide what
Yeah.
deity would a paladin who does all this astrological
Mm-hmm.
and horoscope type work with and cares very much about the motion of astral bodies and planes.
Yes. I feel like most likely,
Googling.
yeah.
D&D
I'm
deities.
quickly looking at the gods of the Forgotten Realms, the deities of the Forgotten Realms, and just by kind of looking at it, we could do Helm, god of protection. He's a folk hero. He's sworn to Helm to protect the populace, and he does this by giving them belief and hope through his stones and reading the reading of the skies, and then continue.
There's so freaking many too on the
Yes,
Forgotten Realms wiki. I need
you could
to.
easily do. Oh, Savaris, the god of divination and fate.
Oh, that's perfect.
Like, bam.
Yeah,
Like, if we're gonna go paladin, even if not, I feel like this is his god. Like, this is who he's gonna follow.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm just gonna go ahead and add that in. If you want to have him follow somebody else, feel free to. But right now, I think this is where
I love it. That's exactly what I was looking for. Is something that was either related to divination or related to space
Mm-hmm.
or something like. I wouldn't have gone for something that was related to Earth or
Mm-hmm.
elemental
No,
type stuff.
no. This is definitely a divine. So I think honestly that I feel like this character is more of a bard, honestly, than a
Really?
paladin.
Okay, let's talk about.
I feel like they're a bard because they're a jack of trades. They can probably do a lot of things. They are charismatic. They're intelligent. They know when to be charismatic, when to influence people, and to get what they want. They aren't going up into melee or using heavy armor and things like that.
Mhm.
They are inspiring others more so. While we have a bard previously with Celia, I believe, yes, her style of being a bardic character, I think what we kind of talked with her being is more of the melee and whatnot, and kind of influencing underneath
And,
people.
yeah, and more of your typical kind of roguish bard who,
Yeah,
and when I say roguish, I mean like roguish as in like the character trope, not the actual class.
yeah.
Um,
And Celia is more of the bard who like steals the knowledge and is collecting it and like doing that kind of stuff. And this character seems more of the bard that buffs the party, who is supporting everybody else.
yes, and at the same time, you would not, because of all the other things we've discussed. This is a very atypical bard in terms of like it's not they're not a spoony bard. You know what I mean? They're not the kind of wandering minstrel type of bard. They have bardic
No,
skills, but I
yes,
think the way that you would play this would be way different than like the sort of you know run of the mill like bard trope.
they're an orator.
Yeah, more of an
Yeah,
orator, more of a storyteller, or a
hmm
and somebody who is into divination and
yeah,
that kind of stuff and horoscopes. Right. I think it does. You might be right in terms of like everything we've talked about probably does fit with the bard more.
yeah. I think, and they're not going towards the music of creation.
Right.
They they see it in the rhythm of the speech and inflection,
Right.
so they make the music through their words more. So they can play music and they can do things like that, but it's not the premise. So yeah, I think we should go with Bard.
I'm down with it.
Okay, let's go into Bard. Now, that being said, we have made a mistake because I forgot about the musical instruments. We have 10, so we have to roll.
That's fine. We can pretend like we didn't make a mistake. All right, now let's roll the musical instruments.
Yes, totally. I mean, it's fine to make a mistake. Like,
And
I regret this at all. Roll 3d10, please. If you have 3d10.
I
If
will
you don't, I can
find
roll one.
them. I've got 3.
Okay.
I'm doing it in good shape. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
A 1, a 3,
Bagpipes.
and a 4. Did you say bagpipes?
Bagpipes, flute, and lute.
Okay.
This character flutes and lutes.
I actually love the bagpipes idea because now I can't like we've already talked about Stonehenge and stuff, and it'd be very easy
Mm-hmm.
to use a Scottish accent with this character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we have skills, which is all of them. So we need to make 3d20 rolls.
Okay. Want me to do 2 or 1? You want to do 3 since I just
However
rolled
many you
3?
feel like.
All right,
You know what? Roll 3.
Oh, are you sure?
Roll 3, man.
You sure?
Roll them all. Yeah. Yeah.
I was suggesting that you roll them. You know what?
Oh, okay. Well,
I only have 2 sitting here, so let's do.
okay. Then I'll roll 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not sure.
I'll roll my
red one.
Dwarvish dice here.
Okay.
I have an 11.
I have a 10 and a 16.
Okay. So medicine nature, sleight of hand.
Medicine, nature, and sleight of hand. Those are all weird skills that you would not pick for this character.
But think about it though. They all apply to this character though.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they can. I think we can BS our way into making all of it make sense in some way.
No, it
Especially
does.
nature.
Medicine, healing crystals.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they actually know about the human body and things like that from research, but they use it to apply to selling the healing crystals. Nature, they need to know the
Put this on your bruise.
huh?
Put
Yeah,
this rock on your bruise.
yeah. And then nature, they are a bard that travels and collects stones, and they use the earth
Okay.
or the plane to study the stars and the planes in the heavens. They need to know about nature. They know a general knowledge there. Sleight of hand, they are selling healing crystals.
Okay.
Like,
It works. Yeah, I think it works, and it's just hilarious to me that it's kind of like you really have to get into the flavor of the character to explain how it works,
yes.
right? Like you definitely need to remember that they are into healing crystals and divination, and that's where their medical knowledge comes in because they have picked up the jargon and done research so they can literally tell people something that's believable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, put this crystal on your forehead when you go to sleep because it will put pressure on some nerve in your forehead and it will release your
Yeah.
chakras.
No, they'll not even say
They
that. They'll just
kind
like put the stone on your forehead while you sleep, and it will release your chakras, and your headache will be gone in the morning. When they
yeah,
know that just sleeping and having a little bit of pressure there will help with the
yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
It'll just help with the whole ordeal. It has nothing to do with chakras.
yeah. So real quick, I'm gonna roll 2d12 for the cantrips, and then we'll figure out what first level spells this character has. Okay,
Okay.
3 and 10. Friends, wonderful. Okay. Friends and thunderclap.
Hmm. Okay. Thunderclap is a weird spell for an earth genasi, but whatever. Still a bard.
But think about it. Thunderclap is really sound effects, right? It's
Yeah.
shockwave. Bard uses the voice. Basically, he just goes full black bolt and just like goes, "Ugh!" And then shockwave. So I think that's how that would work. Like, it's not too inconsistent. Next, we know 4 spells. 23.
Okay.
So we know 4 of them. So I guess we roll. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, 2d12, I guess, would work.
Okay.
Because that would give us 24, and the 24 would just be number 1.
Okay.
So
2d12 rolling. Or do you want me to roll one? Each roll one?
roll one for the first one, and we'll figure out what it is.
Okay. The first one is a 11.
Featherfall. Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna roll the next one. 9 and 9, 18. Silent image. Is this the same thing that Celia had?
Hmm.
That's interesting. I don't think it is. I'm gonna double check her spells. She did. She had silent image and featherfall. Roll another 2d12. Let's figure out.
Okay. We're gonna retcon one of them. 18.
Okay, we're gonna go over that, and we're gonna go to sleep, which is always a useful spell.
Yeah.
Like it's OP at early levels, really, with crowd control and stuff. And then the last one, 10. Fairy fire. So not exactly the same as her. And again, more like fairy fire helps outline people and gives advantage to your friends. Featherfall to help save them if they should fall. Silent image to help move around. Sleep to knock people out. All of it buffing and helping your partners. So that fits pretty well with that. And looking at it, this is a very interesting character with the description and the way that we've built up the background for it. I think this would be a very interesting character. I think that they would play very well with Red Sora and maybe a couple like Nevin and Jaruk. I think they would be really good with those characters, and
Yeah.
probably Zarilak. I think they would work really well with that. The last thing we need to do is christen our character with a name.
Oh man, this is gonna be. So I think here is where another place where the agender thing comes into play, right? We can pick
Yes.
a name that probably doesn't really have sort of a specific leaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea though. I wanna spend some time finding some better name generators or some better like sources for names.
Yeah.
So if you guys listeners out there have some ideas
Alabaster.
or some links you want to share with us, Alabaster, I love that. I was going to go with I saw Glint.
Yeah. I just happened to hit a randomizer and it threw out like on the D&D Beyond name randomizer has been on point these past couple
Yeah.
of sessions. Like I just hit randomizers like Alabaster. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I like. Like it's stone and earthy. It can give you a hint at maybe this character has like very pale alabaster skin, but has like granite cracks and fractures on it until it gets down to its knees where it gets like grayish, like a sky gray or cloud gray coloration, and it juts out and turns to a different type of stone down there. It plays with the age and the name. You can't tell what it really is. You can choose a bunch of different nicknames for it. Like it fits really well.
I'm going to throw this out there
Yeah.
and see how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Either Alabaster Glint or Glint Alabaster. I like both of those.
Glint Alabaster rolls off a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
Glint Alabaster. Yeah. Okay, I can work with that. I like having characters with two names.
Yeah.
The adventurer formerly known as Glint Alabaster.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this is really great. Again, we're not going to do anything for the weapons or the loadout. That's up to you. But I think this character is quite interesting for where they're going to be at and what they do. So
I think I like this character a lot. I think this one is so far one of the most unique characters I've ever participated in creating. Like this is just so different from anything I would have come up with on my own.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because I think that sometimes when you're creating a character, there are words and phrases or like things that just kind of, like I said earlier, there are like tropes that just kind of like once you see something, it sort of forces you on a certain path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're sort of, or you have an idea in your mind. If you start by picking class, then you're like, what races would be good for this class or whatever.
Yeah.
So Earth Genasi, I had never heard of it, but I think I have some biases that just from consuming so much fantasy media over the years that really would have informed me to build something totally different from an Earth Genasi. So having a bard with like this whole like divination skills and background just totally blows my mind.
Oh yeah, and like
I love it.
And go along with that, my bias for Earth Genasi would be like a barbarian or a fighter, but
right. Yeah, something physical.
A bard who is into divination. Yeah. Divination and like leading people through like problem solving and like taking action through their words more so than just talking, like discussing and making action plans for people in like some kind of weird medieval like therapy session, but also being kind of a swindler.
I would say that we at the beginning we started by saying we love to make a leader. I don't know if this is kind of the sort of natural born leader that you were looking for. I think this character has the capacity to lead.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so when put in a position uh, of authority, they would do quite well just because they lean towards fairness and they have a connection to
Mm-hmm.
people and to divination and to sort of understanding people's needs, feelings.
Needs.
Yes.
Yeah, and the result
And
focused.
they're very, yes, results focused is what I was going to say too, and also like actionable, focused on on not just results,
Mm-hmm.
but on creating an actionable path to get results. Um,
Yes.
so
So
yeah, I
this
almost
is.
want to suggest that maybe we're coming up on staging like an election or some sort of competition between the characters to
Mm-hmm.
decide which one of them actually comes out as the mayor of Talkville. We haven't really talked about that too much,
Ooh.
but it's something I wanted to throw out there.
We should do that after episode 10. We'll have 10 characters
Okay.
and we can hold a poll.
Okay.
And we'll run like a little election campaign or something like that. So that seems like a lot of fun. But all in all, I like what we got from Glint Alabaster. I enjoyed the roller coaster of roles and ridiculousness that has happened.
Yeah, this is something I'd never put together.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm that creative. We are now though. We
Yeah.
did it.
I don't think, and I think a lot of people would throw that 6 out also. They were like, no, like
Yeah.
they would scrap
They
all control
truly.
to do it. But really, we appreciate you listeners to come in and check it out. We appreciate all the new listeners who have coming in from different sources. Again, it's you who help us, and you can find me at Raging Cajun Studios on Twitch, on YouTube, and my Twitter handle is DMokun. And you can find John
On Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch as Jonicus with a 0. Um, and do come by and give us some social media love, especially if you're listening on YouTube. Leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, tell
and
your
share.
grandma, and share. Absolutely share. I think that is the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is like if you can get your friends that you play D&D with to listen to the podcast and then have your own discussions about the characters.
Oh, yeah,
Leave a comment and
totally.
let us know what you think. Did we do a
Mm-hmm.
terrible job interpreting how this would go, or did we do an awesome job? We'd love to hear from you.
Of course. And just come and hang out on our streams and chat with us. We try to be very responsive. So
Yeah.
thank you. And we'll see you on the next episode.